everybody, welcome to the Martial Art to Selling. I hope everyone's having a great day. It's a beautiful day out here in El Paso, Texas, about 65, 66 degrees, and I'm loving every minute of it. Now, welcome to the Martial Art to Selling. Before we dig into the topic, do me a favor, guys. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit the subscription button below, share your comments, and also hit the notification so that you can be aware of the next content coming to you that will absolutely help your sales career, help your business, and also help you as an entrepreneur. Now, what am I talking about? It's what I call a box close. This is a sales technique. You have to do it throughout the whole sales process. You can't do it in the beginning and not do it in the middle or the end. You got to do it throughout the whole selling process. Now, some of you might have heard of a box close. Some of you may not have heard of it. But a box close I've been using for over 30 years, and it works to perfection if you work it to perfection. Okay? Now, some of you probably go camping or have been camping. I used to go camping all the time when I lived in Colorado. It's been a while since I've been camping. But what you want to do is when you have a tent, you got to make sure it's solid in the ground, right? You got to do one fork at a time, right? Make sure that it's strong so if a bad weather hits, it could withstand the weather, right? So a box close is the same thing. You box the prospect, and it's an aggressive process, but it's also subtle. And it's putting pressure without them feeling the pressure of having to buy from you. Now, when you do the box close, you got to make sure that at the end of the sale, when it's time to ask for the order, that you get the order. You don't want to be in that position where they're asking you, well, can you call me back? I'm not interested. I need to talk to my partner or my wife, etc., etc. Very rare there's an occasion like that. But you want to deal with that up front, not at the end when you're ready to get the order, especially if you worked hard to the whole process. Does that make sense? So how do you do a box close? And what is a box close? A box close is simply this. In simple terms, it's just a lot of tied down questions that lead to the sale. There's tied down questions in the opening of a sale, there's tied down questions in the middle of the sale, and there's tied down questions at the end of it. There's also path of least resistance questions during the sales process. There's also what I call statement questions that are not questions, they're statements, but they sound like questions within the sales process. Let me give you some examples. When I cold call, you're cold calling and you do an opening call, chances are you're going to get a lot of resistance. You have about 3 seconds to get their attention, right? And you have to understand that they probably received a lot of phone calls prior to you, right? So here's one powerful tie-down question that diffuses that. Mr. Customer, whatever his name is or her name is, do you get a lot of these calls? They say yes. You follow up, I understand and respect that. Now you diffuse it. Now they're giving you more time to tell them a story. Okay? You could also say, when you transition from the opening to the body, you can also say, if I could show you a way to increase your revenue by X amount of percent, is that something that you would be interested in? Yes. If I could show you a way to increase your monthly cash flow, if I could show you a way to target the right leads that are looking for your services and want to do business with you, are you interested in that? Those are tie-down questions. But how you ask those tie-down questions are also very vital. They have to be subtle, they have to be powerful, but they have to have meaning behind it. Another tie-down question. When you start to ask for financials to qualify this customer that they can afford your price, you got to make sure you do that. Mr. Customer or Mr. Prospect, what's your annual revenue? A lot of times they're resistant to give you that answer, but it's your duty to know how much revenues they generate on it or an estimation because it's online. But let's say you want to verify that what that information is online. You want to make sure you ask them a question. Let's say they reject or they object to it, right? Or you give them a path of least resistance question. Mr. Customer, is it $1 million, $5 million, $10 million, $15 million? They're usually going to give you, if you say it right and you ask it right, they're going to give you the lowest number, which means it's always higher. The path of least resistance question. So all of these tie-down questions lead to the closing of the sale. For me personally, the closing starts in the beginning. That's just the way I operate, because I'm not going to waste time in the end, trying to fight for an order when I've earned it. Now, there are times I do negotiate a price. I don't drop my prices a lot, because then you devalue your value. It's just the way it is. What do I mean by that? Let's say you're offering a $5,000 package, right? Let's say for me, a social media package. And because I want to make a seller, I might be desperate, and I want them to do the deal, and they want to negotiate, you may drop it $2,000, $3,000. I've seen a lot of people do that. So that makes them skeptical, because if you offer me $5,000, you're dropping it by $3,000. How valuable could that really be? So never do that. So what you want to do is, during the sales process, get a lot of tie-down questions answered. Does that make sense? How many customers would you like to have in the next month? New customers. How much is your average customer worth to you? Or if they got many services and products that they offer, well, what's the number one product you want to sell more of? And if I could target those customers that are qualified for that particular product, what percent of those can you convert into a sale? You got to ask all these questions. That leads to this. When you get to the end of the sale and you gave them the whole presentation and you're ready to get the order, you got to be ice cold. You have to be ready for them, if they say no, to get the yes. So what I do, and what you should do, and I recommend, these 3 questions, there's only one right answer for it. They can't give you a yes on 2 of them and no on 1 of them. It won't work. But this is where the rubber meets the road. And this is where the real objection will come to the front, which is what you want to do. So you get through the sales process. You ask all the tie-down questions. Now you're about to close the box. Okay? That means getting the sale. So what I always do, I say, Mr. Customer, do you like the idea I presented to you? Yes. Does it make sense? Yes. Do you truly see the value and understand the value I'm offering you, and how this is going to help your business grow by XYZ? Yes. Do you see how it solves your problems in sales or the lack of sales? Yes. Great. Let me show you how to get started. Let me show you how to take ownership of this. That's a box close within itself. Because here's the thing is, they cannot like something they do not understand. And that's why I asked that question first. Because if they like the idea, it has to make sense to them. You cannot like something that doesn't make sense. It's impossible. Maybe there are people that buy even if it don't make sense. I've seen those. They're crazy. I wouldn't do it. And if it doesn't make sense, how can they see the value in it? They can't. So it's your job from the beginning, doing the tie-down questions, the path of least resistance question, also the statement questions, that when it gets to the point where you're asking for the order, those 3 powerful, simple questions have to be a yes. And why? Because when you go from the beginning of the call to the ending of the call, you basically are leading them in the path that you want, that's beneficial to them. In other words, you're getting them used to saying yes to you. So when it's time to get the order, they're going to say yes, and you're going to make it comfortable for them to say yes. That is a box close. It's powerful. But you got to do it throughout the whole process. You can't just all of a sudden try to do it at the end when you didn't even ask questions or get them tied down. Because tied down questions really represents this. It's getting them to commit. It's they're engaged in what you're saying. It's a two-way conversation. Think about that, guys. Tied down questions are important throughout the whole sale process. That is the box close. If you do this right, I promise you this, you're going to see your conversion ratios increase. You're going to see your sales increase. It's just the way it is, because that's selling. It's hardcore, it's aggressive, but it works. Does that make sense, guys? See, I just did a tie down right now. It's just in my nature to do that. It's just who I am. I tie things down. Why? Because that's selling. Nothing wrong with that. You have to understand the power you have, but use it for the right reasons. Does that make sense, guys? So I hope this has been helpful. I want to thank all of you for being part of the martial arts of selling. Again, if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the subscription button below. Do share your comments. Let me know what you think. Give me your opinions. And also share the video with others. Till we speak again, I say goodbye for now. This is Paul Cruz with the martial arts of selling. Have a great day. Bye for now.